My maternal grandmother passed away at 44. I have a baby sister 10 years younger than me who got diagnosed in her early 30s. Fortunately, she is a 4-year survivor. But a year before that, my cousin also got diagnosed with breast cancer. And again, she is a survivor, so we're really happy about that. But it's just such a scary time when you get that diagnosis. I heard about BCPP about 8 years ago when I started playing soccer with a women's group here locally. And one of the fellow soccer players knew through other friends that I had a history of breast cancer in my family, and she was on the board at BCPP and thought that it would be really interesting for us to connect. She's become a dear friend of mine. We're not only friends, but also board members. And what I really liked about what she told me was that Breast Cancer Prevention Partners was not trying to find a cure, but it was trying to stop this disease before it started. And I thought, well, that's brilliant, right? We're spending all this money and time on finding the cure when we could do things in our environment that would help save a ton of lives. When she told me about that, I loved the idea that it was a science-based organization that was coupled with advocacy and education. And so the more I learned after going to a few events, I was kind of sold, like, okay, you're trying to prevent something. You're educating people and you're making a difference. So that's how I came to BCPP, and that's why I stay. I grew up in the inner city of Baltimore. So I worked really hard to get a scholarship to boarding school and go to college at Barnard. So I think working hard and, again, just showing my kids that you have to put effort into things. Sometimes it's a little more effort and sometimes some things don't require as much effort, but you got to figure out what those priorities are for you and go for it, even if you get deterred. So I think I try to do that, and just starting off with getting myself into that boarding school and getting a scholarship because my family wouldn't have been able to send me there. Was the first thing that I did to show that I had some grit, and not just getting the scholarship, but quite frankly, being thrown into a socioeconomic group of people that I never had exposure to. That actually probably was harder than academics, honestly, culturally. And forget that I was, one of 10 Black kids there. So I think that's my grit. And then my grace, I hope that people see me as a gracious person. I try to make sure that people feel welcome and loved. Whether I know you or not know you, I'm going to treat everyone the way I would like to be treated. Just being an inclusive person and always trying to welcome people, and trying to be a gracious person and being humble is the grace piece. And I do think I'm a big connector of people. And I think being with people who fill your cup is also helpful, because we know that stressors in life also impact our health. And so I want to be surrounded by people who lift me up, and I seek those people out. Can't do anything alone. You have to take other people with you, whether I'm trying to help somebody stay healthy and be an accountability partner, whether it's where we hike a couple times a week together, or we just send each other texts. Did you get your exercise in today? Have you drank water? Like whatever that is, whether it's big or small, that it's about giving back. And that came from my mom. Honestly, she's the one who instilled it in me. And I hope that I pass that down to my kids. You should decide what you're passionate about and show up and be with other people and give back and enrich others' lives as well as your own.